Thank you, thank you. It's great to be here today, and I want to say, that this is a vaccinated GP Sunday, and already we know that it's been oversubscribed, and this vaccinated GP Sunday was literally hatched in the last week or so. So that we do expect some hurdles and some challenges, but you must bear with us. We're only 4 days into our rollout. So there might be some overlap with what I say and what the minister said, but I thought I also would put in some data around the vaccine itself, so that you who are going to get your vaccine, you can see some of the data that we got and some of the South African data. As you know, I think this is common knowledge that the AstraZeneca program was paused on Sunday, the 6th of February, and this was following concerns that the vaccine in South Africa didn't protect against the variant, and that we were faced with a situation where we would have had to face a significant lag before we could get another vaccine into South Africa. We were fortunate enough at that stage to have recent data on the ensemble study, which was evaluating the Ad26 jab in South Africa, and we could present that data and see whether there was we could do an intervention. So let's just go back into what is ensemble. So ensemble was a phase 3 efficacy and safety study, and it evaluated the Ad26 based COVID vaccine, and we wanted to see whether this vaccine could protect or prevent SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 in adults who are aged 18 years and older. We were very concerned to make sure that we could answer the question about how this vaccine worked in people with comorbidities and people who were old. A lot of the previous trials that were conducted could never give us, couldn't address the issue of age and comorbidities in a way that would help us. So when we started enrolling in the study, we first of all obviously enrolled the people between 18 and 60 who had no comorbidities. And when we were happy with this group, we rapidly moved to people who were in the same age group but had comorbidities. After that, we then stopped all enrollment in this 18 to 60 old age group and went for the over 60 olds, first without comorbidities and then with comorbidities, because we wanted to answer the question about whether this vaccine worked also in elderly people. So what we saw was that in terms of randomization, it was balanced between active and placebo. We only had a small number of participants who we had to discontinue the study due to adverse events. We had also 2,200 unblindings, and this is important because the study was taking place both in the US, South Africa, and Central America. And at the time of the study, there were participants who were healthcare workers and who could then get vaccine rollout. So they were on this trial and they could get Moderna or Pfizer, and so they unblinded and went on and decided whether to get the vaccine or not. So we're still continuing to follow up these participants. If you were a healthcare worker in our studies in Ensemble, you can access the rollout from the government, but we suggest that you do get unblinded and then make a decision. But we will keep you in the study because obviously we are very interested to know what happens in people who get a vaccine. If you were in the AstraZeneca or the Novavax vaccine trial, we're very interested to see what is this mixing and matching and what impact this has. So we don't want to lose you in the studies. We had a good distribution of men and women, and also what is critical for us, we had more than about a third of participants were over 60 years of age, and you can see the rest of the distribution. As I've mentioned, 15% of the 43,000 participants came from South Africa. We had good racial ethnic representation, and we had lots of comorbidity, 41% comorbidity in the study, with the most being obesity and hypertension and diabetes, as well as HIV. So we also have a good understanding what HIV did in the study, as well as other immunocompromised participants that were in the study. So if you look at the force of infection, so we started enrolling in late October and finished our enrollment in around the 9th of December. And this, I'm showing you the force of infection in the placebo arm of the study. And you can see that South Africa had a torrid second wave, and we had incredibly high rates, high incidences of SARS-CoV-2 in our placebo group. So up to 40 weekly incidence of a 40 per per 1,000 per person years as compared to other parts of the world. If you have a look at how we did in South Africa, so I'm showing you the Kaplan-Meier curves from South Africa, and you can see on your left is the severe COVID, which is the people who went into ICU and may have died, and on your right is your moderate to severe COVID. The red line is the placebo, and the blue line is the active vaccine. And you can see against severe COVID, which is hospitalization and death, already at day 14, we were seeing protection, 73% protection at day 14. At day 28, 28%. At day 28, 88% protection. This is against severe COVID. And then to moderate to severe COVID, day 14, about 40%, and at day 28, around 57%. So you can see the impact of this vaccine is it protects against hospitalization and death in the first instance. So you can see, and this was in the current, with the current variant, the B1351 lineage. So you can see great impact of this vaccine in the severe disease. The reason why we decided to roll out this vaccine in South Africa was because we wanted to prevent death and hospitalization amongst our healthcare workers who are working in hospitals and who have to face the third wave. If you have a look at this slide, this just basically shows you, again, what I've showed you is the Kaplan-Meier curve for South Africa. It shows you that we start to separate, the Kaplan-Meier curve starts to separate around between 14 and 21 days. And that's when you start to see the impact of the vaccine overall. And yeah, if you have a look at, so this slide over here, this bottom graph on your left shows you the vaccine efficacy over time in moderate to severe COVID. And you can see that already from day 14, it starts to increase in efficacy. When we hit day 56, and then it just keeps on going up to at day 63, over 90% efficaciousness. So obviously we had to cut off our analysis here because we had to file for emergency use authorization. So this study is still ongoing, and we just had to make a call, because if you carry on following up these participants, although it's important data, it means that you may never get to your emergency use authorization, and we had to get this vaccine. We wanted to get this vaccine authorized in many regions. The dark gray shows the 95% confidence intervals. So that's just, and obviously the 95% confidence intervals get larger because there are less people that have been followed up this long. And so as we have more data, these confidence intervals will change over time. But this vaccine efficacy over time to moderate to severe and critical COVID-19 is very profound in South Africa. And in fact, so this vaccine worked very well in South Africa. Most of the death and hospitalization cases came from South Africa. So we can also say with certainty, we know that this vaccine works against death and hospitalization because South Africa gave most of the data, contributed most of the data for death and hospitalization as compared to the other regions. So we can say with certainty that that we know this vaccine does work in South Africa. So just to show you, I think, and I'm sure I don't know if the minister showed you, this is just a pictorial that we use when we are telling people about this vaccine and telling healthcare workers. Four continents, some people say three. It was Latin America, Central America, USA, and South Africa. And we had about just under 7,000 people in South Africa. And we showed that there was protection against moderate to severe COVID, and 100% protection against death in South Africa. And we found the vaccine was safe. Obviously, as we roll it out, we will see how it does in South Africa. You can expect, if you have your vaccine, you can expect some pain in your arm, some tingling, some mild headache, some chills, some reactor, some rash. We've had a whole bunch of reactor that's been reported into our safety desk. And I myself took the vaccine, and I had tingling on my arm and a mild headache for 2 days. So I'm happy to talk about safety. We know that it's very efficacious and it's very easy to roll out. At -20, it can last very long. It can be stored in the fridge for up to 3 months. And once you have it in the syringe, it can last for 4 hours. Our phase 1 approach is to make sure we get to the target population, the healthcare workers. So we've got 500,000 doses, and we are slotting in right at the front and mopping up the healthcare workers that are interested in joining the program, so that we can give the Department of Health more time to bring in other vaccines that can either be rolled out or required to be evaluated. So this is where we sit. We in the phase 1 where there's limited doses available, and we obviously are working with the private and public sector. We've distributed the doses, 70% for the public sector and 30% for the private sector. And in the first instance, the private sector will be working with the public sector to get their vaccinations at the public sector vaccines, and we will also then open up in the next 14 days private sector venues as well, and allocate those doses straight to the private sector. I've spoken about this. So basically what happened is on Monday, the vaccines are landed in South Africa. On Tuesday night, sorry, I'm losing my time. Tuesday night, on Monday they started to pack the vaccines in Belgium. They flew out because there's a curfew. The vaccines flew out on Tuesday night. The company helping us with the warehousing stayed up all night to unpack the vaccines and to redistribute them, and we were able to send them to the sites. The first site had them at Baragwanath Hospital at about 3:45 this morning. They were, on Wednesday morning, and most of the vaccines arrived at the sites around 10 o'clock in time to start vaccinating as quickly as possible. And so you can see that we basically didn't spare any time. Everybody moved swiftly to get the vaccines to the sites to start vaccinating on Wednesday, which means that we only lost 2 days of the vaccine rollout program. We didn't have to go to the BioVac like AstraZeneca, because we already had data on this is clinical material. We already had data on the certificate of analysis and the processes, so we didn't have to quarantine the vaccine and do additional work in South Africa, because we were working with accredited labs that are recognized by South Africa. And so basically, we'll see the J&J vaccine move through to the sites. Our research sites will then work with the vaccination sites to try and deliver the program. And so basically what we have seen is that all the vaccines have been delivered, and they'll be delivered to the sites every 14 days. We've activated the next vaccine shipment to come in on the 26th of February. So basically, it's important that you register on the EVDS. We're trying to get it to work. Respond to your invite, provide the consent to take part, receive your vaccination voucher, attend the vaccination center of administration, and hopefully we can be able to vaccinate everybody in the next 2 to 3 months. And we expect to vaccinate 40,000 people by Wednesday and another 40,000 in a week later. And we're busy talking to both the private sector to try and rapidly roll this out so that we can get to all the healthcare workers around the country. These are the sites. So basically, they are the Aurum Institute in Klerksdorp and Rustenburg are helping Northwest. Caprisa and the Chatsworth MRC unit are helping KwaZulu-Natal. The clinical CHRU and Elands is helping Gauteng. Elandsdoorn is helping Limpopo. FAMCRU and Grooteskies are being helped we helped the Western Cape. The Joshua is helping with the Free State. Merck is helping in Mpumalanga. The Nelson Mandela Academic Research Unit and the Phoenix Pharma are helping the Eastern Cape. And we have an additional site in Ladysmith, as well in Soweto. We have, for Gauteng, we also have the Soweto site, the Wits RHI, and the Synexus Vitamaya. And so what we will do, these sites are working with the vaccine sites to deliver the vaccine in a way that we can give it to the healthcare workers at the vaccination centers that have been set up by the government. This just shows you the complexity of what we have to do. Some of the sites are very far from the vaccine centers. For instance, in Northern Cape, we had to fly the vaccine to Northern Cape and also fly the research staff there. We've set up a pharmacy there to deliver the vaccines to the Robert Sobukwe Hospital. And so basically these are the sites. Some of the sites have to travel 200 kilometers To get to the sites, other people just are around the corner or under 10 kilometers. These are the doses for the public and private sector for the first week, and these are the amount of vaccinators we have got. And so this is the potential. We're obviously rapidly increasing the potential so that we can be more efficient as we go out. So the private sector, will in the first phase be vaccinated at the public sector vaccination sites, and we will move out in the next 14 days to give more private sector places. And we will make sure that that we accommodate both the private and public sector. And we want to work the first all 80,000 doses we want to give in the first 14 days. We want to work 10 hours a day, and we want to work 7 days a week as well. And so we're working basically with everybody to try and achieve this. And we're trying to obviously scale up to making sure that we have a minimum of 400 vaccines happening in a day. We're hoping today at Steve Biko we can maybe do 2,000 vaccines, and that's why I'm sure you're hearing on social media and Twitter that there's chaos at Steve Biko. But we ask you to help work with us. We are committed to vaccinating the GPs. We ask for your patience today. This is we want to get better, but we also want to make sure that we do vaccinate you. So even if you are in a queue and you have to wait a long time, we ask you to be patient. We will get to you. So I just want to acknowledge all these people that are working tirelessly in all the provinces to make this happen. 2 weeks ago, we didn't know that we were going to be involved in a rollout program. And so the team that we're working with are working tirelessly to support the government to do this. And I really want to acknowledge both J&J for helping us. I also want to acknowledge the Department of Health and the provinces who've worked tirelessly to support this group and who worked very well, who are working very well with us to try and make sure that we achieve our objective. And I'm going to end off by saying we need to vaccinate to save lives, and we hope that the journey for the next 500,000 healthcare workers is going to be pleasant, and that we can get to everybody and we can help you before the third wave. Thank you very much.